Check, check, check. What is up? What is up? How's everybody doing? Give me a second while I make sure that I can get as many people in here as possible. So I'm gonna work on that real quick. So if you are in the stream already, just know that we will be going in a second. Alright. Yada 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 yada. Alright, Facebook. Alright. How's everybody doing? Hope you are nice and warm where you are, because we are not. I think we got the most snow over the last 48 hours than most snow that we've gotten since 1996. So it's been a while, and it was a doozy. And big thanks to my landlord for hiring people to dig us out, because I go to work at 2 o'clock in the morning, and if I had to dig myself out, I was not going to work. I'm sorry, guys, that I work with, but it wasn't gonna happen. So you could thank my landlord for me being there today. Anyway, alright. Give me a second. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Um, okay. Alright. Sorry, I am just sharing my post in sharing the stream in a couple different places. So I could try to get as many people as I can in here. I'm trying to get exposure to the channel. I am struggling to find a good way to do that. Anyway, you guys think we're going to war with Iran? What do you think? Think it's gonna happen? I have a feeling it's gonna happen. don't think anybody wants us to, but wants it to, but I got a distinct feeling that it's gonna go down. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Nobody wants to see any more American lives lost for wars that don't serve the American people any purpose. I think we're all a little tired of it. I think the GWAT, the Global War on Terror, seriously changed a lot of people's perspectives on the conflicts that our country decides to get into. You know it's bad when you have a ton of veterans that are speaking out against going to war, because that's what those guys do, man. Those guys live, breathe, train, eat, sleep for that chance to go defend our nation's honor. And when you have a ton of retired veterans, and retired veterans with big platforms, I'm not talking 20, 30, 100 viewers. I'm talking thousands and millions of viewers. And you got these guys really against the war. It says a lot, man. It says a lot. Pretty sure that most of them feel like they were lied to about our reasons for invading Iraq, weapons of mass destruction, the whole narrative. I mean, it all fell apart. It all fell apart. And it's sad, man, because I personally know people that went over there, fought for our country, and lost their lives. And I personally know people that went over there and came back and did themselves in. And I personally know people that went over there that came back and went down the road of substance abuse. I know people that went over there that came back and still have nightmares about things that they did over there. Still, 20 years later, still having nightmares about what went on during the GWAT. And if there's anybody that I think we should listen to when it comes to fighting these wars that seem like they have no purpose, it's those guys. It's those guys that were man enough to go sign up at a recruiter and go to basic training and, you know, become a ranger, become a SEAL, you know, go into the Marines, go into MARSOC. You know, it's those guys that we really need to be listening to right now. And it seems like whenever the war drums start beating, that's when those guys stop getting listened to. And it's a shame, because they got more experience over there and more experience with all of it than any of us. And again, our quest for conquest and a unipolar world where America is the top dog. It just gets our boys killed. Gets your sons and daughters killed. Your fathers, uncles killed. Mothers, aunts killed. The innocent people in the countries that we destroy killed. It's sad. It's sad. And now they are beating the war drums for Iran, and what interesting timing, you know? What interesting timing on that. As soon as the files drop, the aliens are coming, and we have the biggest military buildup since the invasion of Iraq in 2003. So, if you don't think that they're trying to distract you from what's in those files, you are sadly mistaken. And if you guys haven't noticed, because I have been playing on Ian Carroll's web app for a little bit of time, there is a serious gap in information from about 1999 to 2002. And I wonder why all those files would be missing. What event happened in between 99 and 2002 that they might not want us to know the real story about. Hmm. You know how many people I know that lost their lives on 9/11? 9. 9 people that I personally knew. Basketball coaches, firefighters, secretaries, paralegals. You know what they were? They were parents. Because when the towers fell, I was in 7th grade. And we heard about it on the news, and I'll never forget it. And Miss McNamee, my history teacher, wheeled in a TV and plugged it in the wall just in time for the second plane to hit the towers. And then everybody's parents started picking their kids up from school. And then it was, who hasn't heard from their parents yet? Who hasn't gotten the phone call? And that went on for a day or two, and until we kind of realized that those people weren't coming back. Seventh grade. I know 9 people that were in 7th grade that either lost their mother or father in the collapse of those towers. And to this day, we're supposed to believe that it was a bunch of hijackers that could barely fly a Cessna, and those planes penetrated a steel building. Because if you don't know how the World Trade Center was structured, the outer layer of the World Trade Centers was all steel. So those planes would have had to fly into steel beams 1.5 feet, 2 foot thick before hitting the windows of the trade centers. And then they supposedly hit the towers with enough force to come out the other side. And the plane in Pennsylvania left no distinguishable parts, no black box, nothing. The plane that hit the Pentagon left a giant hole in the Pentagon. It's funny because they were doing construction, and right on the lawn of the Pentagon are these giant spools of wire You know, like the industrial size ones that are like 6 feet tall. And that plane came in on an angle so shallow that those spools of wire never moved. You know, the grass was perfect. And the FBI figured they would confiscate any security tape that may have caught the impact into the Pentagon. I wonder why. It's an interesting thing. That's like asking, why would the FBI confiscate the security tapes from the hospital that Charlie was taken to after he was 86th? Still haven't came up with a good reason for that. You know, still trying to find a reason for the FBI to seize tapes from the hospital from that day. I don't think we'll ever get an answer, but I don't know. So, if you haven't noticed, which I'm sure you have, the two-party system in the United States is not working. The American people are no longer being represented by their representatives, other than a select few like Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie. Thomas Massie, who, by the way, has been labeled enemy number one by the Trump administration for forcing the release of these files. If it was not for Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna, none of these files would be released. They would still be sealed away in a hole somewhere until somebody got rid of them. Somebody burned them up. Somebody lost them. Hard drive got erased. Whatever. But Thomas Massie, the man that he is, forced a vote. And it was a veto-proof vote. So this narrative that Donald Trump gave us the files, sure, Donald Trump gave us the files because Donald Trump had to give us the files. Pam Bondi saying that we're the most transparent administration ever, and the Dow's at 7,000 and all this nonsense. No, you're not. You're liars. You gaslit us the entire campaign. The only thing you've done right is seal the border. And everything else has pretty much been a disaster. And me, as a 3-time Trump supporter, to say that I am disappointed is putting it mildly. I'm embarrassed by this administration. I'm embarrassed that I was taken advantage of. I'm embarrassed that they successfully played the American people against each other again, because that's all it is. And I quote Clint from Liberty Lockdown a bunch when I say this, but it's like the American ship is sinking. The politicians know it, and they are looting as much as they can off the ship before the ship sinks. And that is the best way to describe it. With all this fraud in Minnesota, hundreds of millions of dollars, there's no way that politicians didn't sign off and know about that. It's impossible. The way that the American people are not even second on the list behind Israel, but maybe we are, I don't know, at this point, 9th or 10th on the list behind the country of Israel. It is very disheartening as an American, and I don't think we can vote our way out of this. I think we have allowed this corruption to seep so deep into our our institutions that every institution needs to be overhauled. All of them. Every one of them. From the executive branch to the judicial branch to the legislative branch. Everything needs an overhaul. If you aren't aware, change in this country will never come from the top down unless it is forced. Change in this country will always come from the bottom up. And why is that? Because the politicians do not want to lose their power. And if they see that the American people are getting tired of it, and I mean tired of it, they will start paying attention. And all it takes is one spark for something to ignite. And next thing you know, you have a whole movement. You have a whole movement going. So, I decided today to ask our AI overlords GROK and ChatGPT for some advice on hold on one second. For some advice on reforming our political system. So what I did was give GROK and ChatGPT 5 different categories. I asked them to give me 20 different bullet points for each category, and how their suggestion would benefit the average American and how it would change the political system for the average American for the positive. Give me 1 second. I forgot to post the link to my personal Facebook, so I'm posting that now. Yeah. Sorry. And we will dive into GROK and ChatGPT's answers, because some of them were pretty on par with what I thought they were going to be. And I'm not going to lie, some of them were definitely not. And I will let you guys be the judge. I'm just going to present you the questions I asked and the answers that they responded with. We can dive a little bit more into the answers. Because there's a couple things that I would like to dive into that I saw on their lists. But yeah, if the AI overlords are gonna take over, we should at least try to use them for some good, right? Suggestions on overhauling the political system, not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. So, let me do this, and let me do that. Can I make it bigger? Let's see if I can make this. Hold on 1 second. Let me see if I can shrink myself down a little bit. Make this a little bit bigger. That don't work because that screws me up on Instagram. Alright, let's do that. We'll do it like this. Save. Update. Okay. So, I asked. We'll start with GROK, right? me get down to... Yeah. Alright, let's start with GROK. Give me 20 points for each category on how to fix the two-party system in America. Give a brief explanation for each point, one that an average American would understand. And these were the 5 categories: electoral and structural reforms, campaign finance and lobbying reforms, party accountability and governance, economic and domestic America First policies, media, tech, and public disclosure reforms. So these are the 20 things for electoral and structural reforms that GROK said we should implement to make the two-party political system better for the average American. Number 1, implement ranked choice voting. Voters rank candidate in order of preference, so if no one gets a majority, the least popular are eliminated until there's a winner. This reduces spoiler effects and encourages more parties. I will 100% agree with that statement. Number 2, adopt proportional representation. Seats in Congress are allocated based on the percentage of votes each party gets, allowing smaller parties to gain representation instead of winner take all. Again, something I completely agree with. Number 3, end gerrymandering with independent commissions. Let neutral groups draw district lines to prevent parties from rigging maps in their favor and making elections fairer. This 100% needs to happen. If you look at some of the lines that some of the districts, if you look at the borders of some of the districts, you can tell that they have been worked over literally street by street for whatever controlling party to gain the most votes. It is absolutely ridiculous, and it is something that needs to go. Number 4, expand the House of Representatives. Increase the number of members to better represent population growth, diluting the power of big parties in smaller districts. Again, something I agree with. Anything that will take away power from the bigger parties, the Republicans and the Democrats, and make it easier for a third option to run in this country is what we need. Everybody saw what they did to RFK in the lead up to this election. And even though he qualified, there were some states that still refused to put him on the ballot. That is not how democracy works. That is not how this country is supposed to work. And shit like that needs to change. Number 5, automatic voter registration. Register everyone when they turn 18 or get a driver's license to boost turnout and reduce party manipulation of voter rolls. 100%. 100%. The minute that somebody gets a driver's license or gets an ID, they need to be enrolled on the voter rolls. 100%. There's absolutely no reason why they shouldn't. The only reason they wouldn't be is if those voter rolls are going to be manipulated by the parties. Number 6, national popular vote for president. States agreed to award electoral votes to the national winner by bypassing the Electoral College to make every vote count equally. I honestly don't know. I don't know the ramifications of this. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm assuming it's depends on the position that your party is in for that election. And I'm going to need to defer to people that know more about how voting works, how the popular vote and the electoral college vote works. But we will come back to that. Number 7, open primaries. Allow all voters, not just party members, to participate in primaries, weakening party control over candidate selection. Now, this is interesting because if you go to GROK, alright, and you scroll up, GROK says the exact opposite thing. Or ChatGPT says the exact opposite thing. ChatGPT says close primaries. Only registered party members vote in their party's primary. The goal is to prevent the other party from interfering in candidate selection. So right there, you have a positive and a negative. Which one of those outweighs the other? I have no idea. I don't have a clue. So, if somebody in the comments could let me know whether it's better to have closed primaries for registered party member voters, or it's better to have open primaries, allowing all voters, not just primary members, to participate in primaries, weakening party control over the candidate selection. Please educate me and let me know. If I don't know something, I'm going to tell you I don't know something. I'm not going to lie to you. I honestly have no fucking idea. So, by all means, please let me know in the comments which one is better and why. Okay, back to GROK. Number 8. This should be number 1. Term limits for Congress. Limit senators and representatives to a set number of terms to prevent career politicians from entrenching party power. We have members of Congress that have been on Congress for over 30 years. These people have never worked a real job in their life. They have no idea what it's like to be an average American, living to paycheck, struggling to raise a family, struggling to pay your bills, struggling to pay your mortgage, struggling to pay your rent, struggling to pay your car repairs. These people don't have a clue. You know why? Because they all make money insider trading. So the $170,000 salary for a congressman, when you look at the net worth of these individuals, they're all in the millions. All of them. So you tell me how that makes sense. Number 9. Multi-member districts have multiple representatives per district elected proportionally, encouraging coalition building across parties. Alright, so we need to expand on number 6, section 6, section 1, and number 9, section, I can't type, section 1. Okay. Number 10, lower barriers for third-party access. Simplify rules for independents and new parties to get on the ballots without massive petition drives. Again, 100%. What they did to RFK in this election was complete bullshit. The man qualified, and the states refused to put him on the ballots. It was bullshit. Number 11, weekend or holiday voting. Make election day a holiday or extend it to weekends to increase participation and reduce party advantage in low turnout elections. Personally, I'm okay with making election day a holiday. I am not okay with it extending into weekends to increase participation. If you can't get off work to vote, you tell your boss that you're going to vote. And if your boss fires you for voting, it's your constitutional right. I don't think you can be fired for going to vote. I could be wrong. I don't think you can. 12. Public funding for elections. Provide matching funds for small donations to level the playing field for non-major party candidates. I like it. I like it a lot. Make it easy for Steve in Little Rock, Arkansas. I said Little Rock, Arkansas. Thinking about Bill Clinton on the Epstein files. Let's talk about Mike in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, who owns a farm. And he wants to run for office. How is he supposed to compete against these political parties that have hundreds of millions of dollars, slush funds, dark money, NGOs, money that's funneled in from other countries and other entities that's hidden in shell corporations? How are they supposed to compete? They can't. It's impossible. You might get 1 out of 1,000. Chances are it's not going to happen. So we need to make it easier for third-party candidates to get on the ballot. We need to give the people an alternative from the left or the right. Because if we haven't noticed, if the Epstein files taught us one thing, they are 2 wings of the same bird. And they are so entrenched in our political institutions that we need a way to get them out. Number 13, instant runoff primaries. Use ranked voting in primaries to ensure the nominee has broad support, not just extremes. I like it. I like anything that shortens the amount of time from when people vote to when we know the decision. Because the shorter amount of time, the shorter amount of time these political parties have to fuck with the vote. So anything that's going to shorten that, I'm okay with. Let's go. Number 14, abolish the filibuster. Remove the Senate rule requiring 60 votes to pass bills, allowing more legislation to move without one party blocking everything. 100% needs to happen. Everybody talks about abolishing the filibuster. Nobody ever does it. It never happens. And why doesn't it happen? Because these politicians are incentivized to keep us in gridlock. Number 15, statehood for DC and Puerto Rico. add new states to balance representation, and introduce new voices outside the two-party dominance. I am going to disagree with that wholeheartedly. Adding DC would 100% add electoral and popular votes for the Democrats. Same thing with Puerto Rico. And the District of Columbia is the District of Columbia for a reason. It was set up like that for a reason by our founding fathers. Digital voting options. Secure online or app-based voting to make it easier for everyone, potentially increasing diverse voter output. Full stop. Disagree with it. I am not okay with any digital voting, voting from your phone. I don't believe any of it is secure. I think all of it could be manipulated. Absolutely not. If you want to ask me, I think the best way to go is you have a voting machine and a paper ballot to go with it. So if there is any discrepancy in the votes, there is a fallback option if necessary. Redundancy. Something that our voting system does not have. Number 17. Ban party line voting mandates. Prohibit parties from pushing members who vote against the party line, encouraging independent thinking. Well, let's think about what's currently happening right now. Thomas Massie, the only one with the balls to force a vote on the files, has now become public enemy number one by everyone in MAGA and all of the cultists that are in that cult. Thomas Massie is a goddamn American hero. Because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have those files. And just because Trump, or our greatest ally, is not happy about what's in those files, so they want to come after Thomas Massie like he's the bad guy, instead of prosecuting the people that are in those files that did those horrible things to those girls and those kids, those boys. Let's go after Thomas Massie, because he's the guilty one. You've got to be kidding me, man. Like, these people can't be serious. Number 18, fusion voting. Allow candidates to run on multiple party lines, like in some states, to build cross-party alliances. Okay. Expand on number 6 section, and number 9. Okay, expand on... I have this wrong. Give me a second. Let me fix this. Expand on number 6, number 9, and number 18 in section 1. Number 19. Redistricting every 5 years. Update districts more frequently based on census data to reflect changes and prevent long-term party locks. I would agree with this if it weren't for the 20 million illegals that we've allowed to come into our country, and if it wasn't for the Democrats pushing for no voter ID and these illegals, even though they're illegals, they are counted in the census. So if we're redistricting based on the census and there's a lot of illegals in those areas, those redistrictings are going to be biased based on the illegals that are in the census. So I would be okay with redistricting every 5 years based on census data that reflects American citizens, but not strictly off the data, because that data is skewed due to the amount of illegal immigrants we have allowed in this country for the last, let's call it, a decade. Encourage parliamentary style coalitions. Reform rules to allow temporary alliances in Congress, making governance less about rigid party control. I'm with it. The Democrats are not and I'm going to get hate for this, man. The Democrats are not our enemies. We are all American citizens. And the propaganda has worked so well on both sides that it is totally insane. It's insane the amount of propaganda and brainwashing that has gone on because people consume the mainstream media and believe these bullshit narratives that are shoved down their throat all the time. All right, so that was GROK. Let's go to ChatGPT. See what ChatGPT says. Electoral and structural reforms. Number 1, term limits for Congress. Limit how long members of the House and Senate can serve so no one becomes a lifelong career politician. Supporters believe this keeps leaders connected to regular Americans instead of Washington power circles. 100% absolutely needs to happen. There need to be term limits. There should be no such thing as a career politician. Serve your time and get the fuck out. And let the next person that wants to step up and help this country earn their seat. Anybody that's a career politician is only in it for the money. They're not in it to help you. They're not in it to help me. They're not in it to help the Republicans. They're not in it to help the Democrats. They're not in it to help anybody but themselves. 30 years as a member of Congress? What? Like, you've got to, like, we need to make some fucking changes, man. Number 2, health and cognitive checks for older politicians. Require periodic medical and mental medical and mental fitness evaluations to make sure elected leaders are capable of handling the demands of office. Well, if we had this in effect, we would have known that Joe Biden has cancer, and has dementia, and had dementia while he was in office. I mean, we all knew it, but it would confirm it. He wasn't fit for office. He wasn't signing those executive orders. He didn't know where he was half the time. He had to be walked off stage. He'd get lost walking off stage. And I forgot who it was. One of the guys on NBC or CNN. Biden's sharp as a tack. This is the sharpest I've ever seen him. That dude lied straight to the American public, knowing full well that Biden was handicapped and belonged in a home and didn't know where he was half the time. And if we had something like this in place, it wouldn't be an issue. Remember what happened with Feinstein? We couldn't get her out of office. She didn't know where she was half the time. She thought she had voted for things that she didn't vote for yet. She was a mess. Couldn't get her out of office, though. Cognitive checks for all of them. If they're not fit to serve, get them out. Number 3, closed primaries. This is where I'm not sure about. Only registered party members vote in their primary. The goal is to prevent the other party from interfering in candidate selection. I can understand that. How much does it happen? Again, I'm going to defer to the audience and ask you guys because I honestly don't know. Number 4, same-day registration with ID verification. Allow people to register and vote on the same day while verifying identity and citizenship, making voting easier but still secure. Absolutely. Number 5, nationwide voter ID requirement. Require a government-issued ID to vote, similar to everyday tasks like flying or picking up tickets, to increase trust in elections. There's absolutely no good reason, unless you are planning to manipulate the elections, that everybody should not have an ID. Everyone should have an ID to vote. Just like everyone needs a license to drive a car. Do you think that black people are unable to get IDs because they live in the projects and they don't have a lot of money? Well, they need ID to collect their Social Security or their unemployment. There was some kind of identification verification there. So why not make it for voting? Common sense. Paper ballot backups for all machines. Every vote leaves a physical paper trail so results can be verified with a recount if needed. Again, 100% redundancy. The one thing that we don't have in our voter system is redundancy. A paper ballot along with your voting machine gives you redundancy. If there's any questions about the results on the voting machines, we could always go back to the paper ballot that was associated with the vote on the voting machine. There should be no reason that anybody in either party disagrees with that statement unless you have nefarious plans for the election. Number 7, make Election Day a national holiday. This is another one that they agreed on. Give workers time off so they can vote without worrying about missing work or losing pay. 100%. I am all for making Election Day a national holiday. I am not for extending it into the weekend, making it a multiple day period. It needs to be one day, open to close, and as soon as polls close, we need to start counting ballots. And we need the results of the election as soon as possible. Number 8, standard early voting window. Set the same early voting period nationwide to ensure consistency and better oversight. Again, absolutely. Absolutely. There should be nobody on either party that disagrees with this. This is another common sense thing. If we have national standards for voting would not be nearly as complicated as it is right now. Standards make it easier for us to figure out what's going on. Makes it easier to figure out if there's anomalies in the vote counts. It makes it easier for people to know what to expect when they go to vote because standards are nationalized and they don't change from state to state or district to district. Number 9, No mass mailing of unsolicited ballots. Ballots are only sent to voters who request them to prevent lost or misused ballots. 100%. Why are we mass mailing ballots? If somebody didn't take the time to request a ballot, knowing that they wouldn't be able to vote on election day, then that person doesn't care enough to vote. So why mail them a ballot if they don't have the decency to at least fill out a piece of paperwork and say, I need a mail-in ballot? Again, common sense. Both parties should agree with that. And every American should agree with that. That should not be a problem for anybody. Number 10, stricter ID and signature checks for mail ballots. Add verification steps to make sure the person who filled out the ballot is actually the voter. I don't know how to add verification steps to make sure the person who filled out the ballot is actually the voter, other than literally fingerprint, because that's the one thing that we could tie to the person, because everything else can be faked. So if we're gonna put our thumbprint on the vote to confirm that it's my vote, so you guys can compare it, run it in a database, I don't give a shit. Go ahead and do it, because I have nothing to hide. Now, to all you people saying it's a surveillance state, blah, 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 listen. Them having your fingerprint is not a big deal. They have millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of fingerprints on file. If they were going to do something nefarious with your fingerprint, they probably would have already done it. Number 11, candidates must live in their districts. Ensure representatives truly understand their community, the communities that they represent. Absolutely. Absolutely. You should not be running for Senate in a district that you don't live in. And if you have a second address, I don't know what to do if you have a second address. I would say it needs to be the address where your taxes are filed is the address that gets used. But if anybody's got a better solution, by all means, drop it in the comments. 12. Independent redistricting commissions remove map drawing power from politicians to prevent gerrymandering. I don't understand why we gave them this power in the first place. Why would we allow politicians to draw the boundaries of the districts? Does that not seem like it is the dumbest fucking idea? You got these guys scribbling on fucking maps looking like a fucking 6-year-old drew on a fucking map. Oh, yeah, that looks good. No, man. No. No, no. That is not how this is supposed to work. Number 13, uniform ballot handling standards. Create national rules for how ballots are transported, stored, and counted. Again, redundancy, standards. People know what to expect. If people know what to expect and we have standards, then we know what to look for if something doesn't seem right, if something seems out of place, because we have standards. And if something doesn't meet those standards, well, then we have a problem. Again, this is not something that a Democrat or a Republican should have a problem with. This is a common sense thing. A common sense thing that I am sure is used as a partisan talking point for one side or the other. But it doesn't really matter because it doesn't help the American people. Number 14, ranked choice voting in primaries helps produce candidates who appeal to a wider group of voters instead of just a small base. I am a supporter of ranked choice voting in primaries. I am a supporter of ranked choice voting, period. I think people get elected that shouldn't be. I think ranked choice voting would give you a better idea of where the general public is at, not the far right MAGA cultists, or not the far left transgender pronoun. I don't know how many pronouns I have today. Today, people like it's common sense. Common sense. Number 15. I like this. Required public debates. Make candidates debate so voters can compare their positions directly. And I'm not talking about debates on CBS or NBC or Fox where the moderators gang up on the politician they don't like. I'm talking legitimate debates where candidates have time to answer real questions. And we're not looking for sound bites. We are looking for substance. We are looking to see what these people truly believe. Oh, well, how do you feel with Mike Huckabee saying that Philadelphia has a biblical mandate to the Nile, to the Euphrates? Or how do you feel about the immigration raids? Or how do you feel about Trump's tariff policy? Give them enough time to answer the fucking question so we know what they actually think. Number 16. Automatic recounts for close elections. If results are extremely close, a recount happens automatically to ensure accuracy. 100%. Automatic. If it's within a certain percentage, there needs to be a recount. Number 17, and this is another problem on both sides of the aisle, whether they want to admit it or not. Routine voter roll cleanup. Keep voter lists to date so only eligible voters remain on them. The only reason you're keeping people on these voter rolls for so long that aren't eligible to vote is so you can get a ballot sent out to them and hopefully somebody sends it back. And that is as not nefarious as I could put it. Number 18, basic civics knowledge requirement. Encourage voters to understand how government works and what they're voting on. I mean, that should be common sense. But unfortunately, it's not. Because we have parties that pay people $50 to get on a bus, go cast a ballot, and get back on the bus and go home. And they have no idea what they voted for. They just know they made $50. Simplified ballots. Make ballots easier to read so voters can clearly understand their choices. That seems pretty common sense. I'm sure somebody's going to have a problem with that. How? I don't know. Somebody's got a fucking problem with everything today. Number 20. Strict penalties for election interference. Severe punishments for anyone who tampers with elections to protect integrity. If you are fucking with the elections, you need to go to jail. Period. End of story. Both parties, don't care who it is. If you're fucking with the elections, if you're fucking with people's ballots, that is fucking with people's sovereignty and freedom as an American and fucking with their right as an American to vote. If you have the audacity to take that away from somebody, then you need to go to fucking prison. Period. Both parties, left, right, I don't care. If you do it, you need to go. Alright. So, let's take a look at the stream. I got two people in here. I am killing it right now, and I guarantee you that one of them is definitely my mother. So, making progress. We're making progress. Alright, so let's go back to ChatGPT. Campaign finance and lobbying reform. Number 1, ban all foreign money in elections. Ensure that only Americans influence American elections. Now, this is not going to be easy. Why? Because corporations and fake accounts and slush money, there's a million different ways for foreign money to enter our political races. Donations to charities. What do you think all those donations to the Clinton Foundation were for in the lead up to her election? Number 2, block foreign-funded nonprofits from political spending. Prevent outside countries from indirectly influencing U.S. politics. Again, both parties. This should not be a dividing issue. We should not want foreign money in our elections. That's how you end up with Russiagate. That's how you end up with all this other nonsense. That's how you end up with APAC. Hold on. Time out. I gotta pull something up. What is APAC's success rate when backing a candidate? The success rate of APAC, American Israel Public Affairs Committee, backing political candidates is very high overall, but depends on how you measure it. In 2022 election cycle, AIPAC's own Political Action Committee reported that about 98% of the candidates it endorsed won their general elections. 98%. So, in 2022, only 2% of the candidates that AIPAC didn't back got elected. So, if you're going to tell me that the American people only disagreed with AIPAC over candidates 2% of the time, I'm gonna call bullshit. I'm calling bullshit. Nobody has a 98% win rate. Nobody. And anybody that does should be investigated by every three-letter agency in our country. Does that right there not show you how much influence Philadelphia has over our political system? If 98% of their candidates got elected? When are we going to wake up to the fact that we are no longer a sovereign nation? What is it going to take for you guys to realize that when AIPAC elects 98% of the people they supported, that we no longer have control of the people we elect? Clip that. In 2024, AIPAC supported 361 candidates, 129 Democrats, and 193 Republicans. Backed by AIPAC, won their races. Very high success rate overall. Well over 80 to 90%, depending on how you count. Where is AIPAC's influence most notable? AIPAC's biggest impact is often seen in party primaries, not general elections. In smaller turnout primaries, heavy spending can sway outcomes. In one cycle, AIPAC Super PAC helped 7 of 10 targeted primary candidates win. Bottom line, general elections, extremely high success rate, roughly 90 to 98%. The bottom line is a foreign political action committee has a 90 to 98% success rate in electing the candidates that they want. You tell me how we are a sovereign country when we allow that to happen. If you can explain that to me, please. I am all ears. I am open for you to explain it to me. I would love you. I am genuinely curious to know how we could be considered a sovereign nation with those kind of numbers. Anyway, back to where we were. Lower cap on individual donations. Limit how much one wealthy person can influence a race. Absolutely. We saw this happen with Trump. Marion Madelson. $200 million to Donald Trump. And look how much influence Philadelphia has over the Trump administration. You think if these people weren't allowed to buy off our politicians, that things may work a little differently in our country? Again, something both parties should agree on. Both parties. Both parties are not going to, because both parties want AIPAC money. So neither of them will agree with it. But I guarantee you, me, you, and every other average American wants their money out of our politics. Number 4, ban corporate PAC donations to candidates. Reduce corporate influence over elected officials. I don't think corporations should donate to political candidates at all. I think we should ban all corporate donations. There should be no corporations that influence our elections. You can agree with me, you could disagree with me. It should be up to the American voter, not up to mega corporations that donate hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. Real-time donation disclosure. Let the public see who is funding campaigns immediately. Absolutely. End dark money political spending. Require full transparency on who is paying for political ads. Lifetime lobbying ban for members of Congress. Stop former lawmakers from cashing in on their connections. I don't know if I would go so far as saying a lifetime ban. I'm good with a moratorium of 6, 8 years. After they've been out of politics long enough to not really be relevant in the geopolitical events of the current day, I wouldn't have a problem with them getting into lobbying with some kind of moratorium. 10-year lobbying ban for senior staff. Prevent staffers from immediately going to work for special interests. Again, I agree. Ban lobbyist donation building. Stop lobbyists from collecting large sums of money to influence politicians. Common sense. The more big money that we allow into our elections, the less we matter and the less our votes matter. Full transparency for super PAC donors. Make all big political funding sources public. Agreed. There's no reason it should be hidden. Limit campaign season length. Reduce nonstop campaigning so leaders can focus more on governing. And to be perfectly honest, if you're governing as well as you shouldn't need to campaign because your actions would speak for themselves. Public financing option for grassroots candidates. Help regular people run for office without relying on big donors. That is what we need. We need to figure out how to get the average American, the average blue collar American that cares about his neighbor, that cares about his country, that just wants his kids to have a better life. That is who we need to figure out how to get into office. If we could figure that out, our country would be a lot better off. Penalties for illegal coordination between PACs and campaigns. Prevent backdoor cooperation that breaks the spirit of campaign finance laws. Yes, absolutely. Another point that both parties should have no problem agreeing with. If you guys are going to backdoor money, you guys are liars. And if you guys will lie about that, what else will you lie about? For me, once you lose my trust, you lose my trust. If you want to take the risk of losing my trust on how you campaign, there's no way I am going to trust you with how you run the country. Number 14. This is going to be a good one. Ban stock trading by members of Congress. Stop elected officials from profiting off of inside information. We have been talking about this for fucking years. And we can't get anywhere with it. Look what just happened with Dan Crenshaw and Sean Ryan. Sean Ryan called him out for insider trading. Dan Crenshaw threatened to sue him. Then went on a bunch of podcasts and talked shit about Sean Ryan. Sean Ryan was asking legitimate questions about how Dan increased his wealth so much since becoming a member of Congress. And if you will become a member of Congress, we have the right to ask those questions. It is not defamatory to ask how you enriched yourself while you were in office serving the American people. Real-time financial disclosure by elected officials. Let the public see leaders' financial interests to avoid conflicts. Restrict political donations from federal contractors. Prevent companies from donating to the politicians who award them contracts. I think we call that kickbacks, right? I don't think we should be giving our politicians kickbacks for granting us government contracts. You should be getting granted government contracts because you deserve them. Not because the politician is getting a $15 million kickback by getting a donation to his charity that he's going to siphon off the top. Mandatory audits of campaign finances. Ensure campaign money is used legally and transparently. Again, should not be a partisan issue. Penalties for companies influencing U.S. politics from overseas. Discourage foreign-based corporate political interference. I have a feeling that there might be a little bit of that going on right now with, I don't know, the Iron Dome and those kind of contracts. I could be wrong, but I don't really think I am. Just a hunch. Independent anti-corruption prosecutor. Create a dedicated office focused on rooting out government corruption. All right. Now, let's go back to GROK. Number 1, overturn Citizens United. Reverse the Supreme Court decision allowing unlimited corporate spending in election to reduce big money influence. Again, the more money that flows into the political parties, the less our votes matter. Get the big money out of politics. Get the donors out of politics. Get Citizens United out of politics. Get corporations out of politics. Get it all out. Public financing of campaigns. Give candidates public funds if they agree to spending limits, making it easier for outsiders to compete. Again, I agree. Anything that we can do to make it easier for third-party candidates or candidates that are from Main Street and not Wall Street run for office, we should allow that to happen. These people deserve a fair chance to get into office. The average person cannot compete with somebody that's got a $20 million campaign. Ban super PACs. Prohibit these unlimited donation groups that skew elections toward wealthy donors and parties. I'm okay with that. I'm sure you're okay with that. I don't think Philadelphia and AIPAC are going to be okay with that. Which means I don't think the Republicans and the Democrats are going to be okay with that because both of them are on the fucking payroll. Donor transparency, ban corporate donations. Cooling off period for lobbyists. Former officials must wait years before becoming lobbyists. Ooh, cap lobbying spending. Limit how much lobbyists can spend on influencing lawmakers, leveling the field. Public lobbyist registry. Require all lobbyists to disclose meetings and gifts in a public database. I like that. That's a good one. Ban foreign donations. Small donor matching. Ooh, and dark money. Require nonprofit groups to reveal donors if they spend on politics. Again, this one says independent oversight board. Limit PAC coordination. Prevent super PACs from coordinating with candidates or parties. Tax on big donations. Impose a surcharge on large contributions to fund public campaigns. Ban stock trading by Congress. Revolving door tax. Fine officials who lobby too soon after leaving office. Online donation tracking. Online donation tracking. Require real-time reporting of all online contributions. Voter vouchers. Give every citizen a small voucher to donate to a candidate, empowering grassroots funding. Okay. Party accountability and governance. Mandatory ethics committees. Require both parties to have independent ethics reviews for members' conduct. Transparency in party platforms. Parties must publish detailed, verifiable platforms annually for voter scrutiny. Whistleblower protections. Safeguard party insiders who report corruption without fear of retaliation. Term limits for party leaders. Bipartisan commission for key issues. Force parties to work together on panels like things like budget and security. Public audits of party finances. Require annual independent audits of party spending. Ban slush funds. Prohibit unofficial funds used for personnel or hidden purposes. I like this one a lot. Voter recall for officials. Allow citizens to vote out underperforming representatives at the midterms. I like that a lot. Scorecard for promises. Independent groups rate how well parties keep campaign promises. They already do that. Anti-nepotism rules prevent parties from favoring family members in nominations or jobs. I don't think you're going to be able to do that. Washington is all nepotism. Regular town halls mandate elected officials hold open meetings with constituents. What's up? Hold on. All right, hold on, Apollo. Sorry, my dog's crying. You gotta wait a second. Party deregistration for violations. Strip party status if they break major laws repeatedly. Cross-party membership programs encourage experienced members to guide newcomers from other parties. I don't see that happening. Performance-based funding. Tie public party support to ethical track records. Well, I'll tell you what. I don't think that would look too good for the Trump administration right now if we had that if we had that rule. Ban anonymous attacks. Require parties to own up to negative ads. Independent fact checkers and debates. We all know that none of them are independent. They're all working for somebody. Sunset clauses on laws automatically review and renew old laws to prevent outdated party legacies. All right. Economic and domestic policies. Tariffs on imports protect U.S. jobs by taxing foreign goods that undercut American workers. Buy American mandates require government projects to use U.S.-made materials. Reshore manufacturing. Does this not feel like the 2024 Trump campaign right here? Reshore manufacturing. Offer tax breaks for companies bringing jobs back from overseas. Infrastructure investment. Fund domestic projects to create jobs. Reduce reliance on foreign supply chains. This is like the whole Trump 2024 campaign, and he's done none of it. Energy independence boosts U.S. oil, gas, and renewable to avoid foreign energy independence. Trade deal reforms. Renegotiate deals to prioritize American workers over global corporations. Small business support. Cut regulations and taxes for local businesses to compete with big chains. Patent protections. Strengthen rules to keep U.S. innovations from being stolen abroad. I don't think you're really going to do that. China steals everything. Israel steals everything. Everybody steals from everybody. Good luck making that happen. Agricultural subsidies. Support family farms over foreign imports. The farmers are struggling. The farmers are in debt. The farmers are losing their farms. All because of Trump's tariffs. The American farmers are going extinct. The towns are going extinct. The schools are going extinct.
if they have a bad crop season, these guys are so on the edge, it'll put a ton of them out. These guys have no cushion whatsoever. Debt reduction focus. Prioritize paying down national debt to strengthen the economy long term. Yeah, okay. This is a controversial one. Universal basic income trials. Test programs to help Americans hurt by economic shifts. I am not for just giving out free money. But if AI is going to do what they say it's going to do, we are going to have to figure something out and how to resolve the job displacement that AI is going to cause and is already causing. And it seems like nobody wants to talk about it. And nobody's going to want to talk about it until there's 6, 7, 8 million people unemployed from AI taking their jobs. And at that point, it's going to be too late. So we need to start talking about it now. We should have started talking about it 5 years ago, but nobody wanted to fucking talk about it. Antitrust enforcement. Break up big monopolies to stifle competition. Housing affordability initiatives. Build more domestic housing to keep costs down. Healthcare cost controls. Cap prices on drugs and services to make them affordable here. Notice how it says affordable here. Because they're affordable everywhere else. They're just not affordable here. Because we have a for-profit healthcare system. Education reform. Invest in vocational schools for practical American jobs. I barely see any vocational schools anywhere. And we need plumbers, electricians, roofers, framers, architects, pipe fitters. The list goes on, man. We don't have anybody for these jobs. And there's no incentive. Immigration tied to economy. Prioritize visas for needed skills without undercutting wages. R&D tax credits. Encourage innovation in U.S. tech and science. Supply chain security. Mandate key industries source domestically. Veteran job programs. This should be an automatic. Prioritize hiring vets in America First initiative. Okay, America First doesn't even need to be in there. Prioritize hiring our veterans. Prioritize hiring the people that went over there, that lost body parts, that lost their friends, that have PTSD. Prioritize finding them a job in society. We shouldn't have homeless veterans in our country. I don't care if you're a Democrat or a Republican. Regardless, they went and they fought for your freedom. They deserve to be treated like they did. Media and tech. Break up monopolies, media monopolies. Use antitrust laws to split up big companies owning multiple outlets. For some reason, I don't see Larry Ellison on board with that. So, I don't think so. Fact-checking mandates require news outlets to have independent verifiers for stories. Yeah, that's bullshit. Algorithm transparency. Tech companies must disclose how they promote content. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think there's anybody that understands the algorithms well enough to know if the tech companies were feeding us bullshit or telling us the truth. Ban echo chambers. Platform adjusts feeds to show diverse viewpoints. No. Media literacy education. Teach in schools how to spot fake news. This right here. We were told that COVID was fake news. We were told that the files were fake news. We were told that Pizzagate was fake news. We were told that the Liberty was fake news. All of these things were true. And the people that said they were true from the beginning were called conspiracy theorists. All the Diddy stuff, the Harvey Weinstein stuff, private equity, buying all our houses. These were all fake news stories. Building the third temple, fake news. None of it was fake, though. It was all real. And we were all called nuts. Because we saw it from the beginning. The Charlie Kirk assassination. Fake news. It was Tyler Robinson. If you don't believe that story, you're a conspiracy theorist. How about we teach people how to spot government propaganda? That would be more helpful. Because you're getting more government propaganda on TV than you are actual news. Section 230 reform. Hold platforms accountable for harmful content. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Anonymous account limits. Require verification for large follower accounts. I disagree with that too. If you want to be anonymous, you should have that right. Debate format changes. Mandate civil, fact-based formats for political debates. I like it. Anti-doxing laws. Protect people from online harassment. I like anti-doxing. Digital town squares create public forums for balanced discussion. Twitter is the digital town square. X. Bias disclosures. Media outlets are forced to label their political leanings. I like it. I like it. Ground News. They are not a paid sponsor, but that is what they do. They will let you know what stories are being talked about, what stories aren't being talked about, whether it's coming from right or left outlets. It's a good service to have. It lets you know where your biases are and where your blind spots are. Ad transparency. Show who funds political ads. Slow down viral content. Platforms delay rapid spreads to fact check. I don't know how that's going to work with all the AI content coming out. Maybe. Civic education campaigns promote understanding of government basics. Cross-partisan dialogues fund events where opposites discuss issues. That's funny that's on there because that's what Charlie Kirk did, and Charlie lost his life for that. For that right there. Charlie lost his life. And our DOJ is covering it up. The administration is covering it up. If you think that this kid that was dating a furry shot Charlie, you're out of your freaking mind. If you bought into all the Turning Point gospel nonsense, you better check yourself. You're wrong. You're getting brainwashed. You're getting propagandized. AI content labeling, mark generated content to avoid deepfakes. I agree with that. Free speech zones online. Protect diverse opinions without censorship. I didn't realize we needed to have free speech zones online. This is America. And the First Amendment is freedom of speech. Except if you go on TikTok and you throw up a juice box emoji, your account's getting banned. So don't do that. Journalist protection, strengthening laws against threats to reporters. Public data dashboards create neutral sites for fact-based policy info. There are some. I know they're out there. I don't know which ones they are completely, but I know they're out there. Oh, man. Let's go back over to ChatGPT. ChatGPT. Party accountability and governance. 4-year party contract with voters. Require parties to clearly state what they promise to accomplish over 4 years. Quarterly progress reports. Keep parties accountable by reporting progress regularly. Balanced budget requirement. Force both parties to control spending unless there's an emergency. Single bill issues only. Stop lawmakers from hiding unrelated policies inside massive bills. Again, I understand why it's done. Sometimes things need to get passed. So they slip it in a larger bill to get it passed. Both sides do it. Do I agree with it? No. I think it should be single bill issues only. 72-hour public review of bills. Give the public time to read legislation before it is voted on. Sunset clauses on programs. Supermajority for new federal agencies. Make it harder to expand government unnecessarily. Remove old regulations when new ones are added. Annual state of debt report. Keep Americans informed about national debt and spending. I mean, we have the national debt clock, and that thing is in overdrive, so I don't think we need a state of the debt report. Independent audits of agencies. Check government departments are effective and not wasteful. Again, I don't really think any agencies are independent. I think they all lean one way or another. Line item veto for the president. Allow the president to cut wasteful spending from bills. Congressional approval for extended military action. Prevent endless wars without clear approval. Seems like it could be relevant. Tie congressional pay to economic performance. Make lawmakers feel the effects of their decisions. Lawmakers must use their own policies. If they create health care or retirement plans, they must use them too. I like both of those. Public logs of meetings with lobbyists show voters who lawmakers are talking to. National referendum option. Let citizens vote directly on major issues when Congress fails to act. I like that too. Transparent earmarks. All special spending projects must be publicly disclosed. I don't know how that would work with like SAPs, which are special asset access programs in the military. I'm sure there's ways around that. Agency reapproval under every 10 years. Ensure government departments still serve a purpose. Citizen oversight boards. Give regular Americans a voice in monitoring agencies. Term limits for committee leadership. Prevent a few politicians from controlling key committees for decades. Buy American requirements. Governments buy good made in U.S. support U.S. jobs. Penalties for outsourcing jobs. tax incentives for reshoring jobs, strategic manufacturing reserves, tariffs on unfair trade practices, protect American workers, use American materials in infrastructure projects, keep tax dollars supporting U.S. industries, energy independence policies, reduce reliance on foreign oil, expand domestic energy production. Again, the American First Economic and Domestic Policies section sounds like Trump's 2024 campaign. Rebuild domestic supply chains, national skilled trade programs, train workers for high demand jobs, adjust immigration to labor market needs. Mandatory e-verify for employers. Ensure companies hire legal workers. I like that. Merit-based immigration system. Prioritize skills and contributions that benefit the country. I like that too. End tax breaks for companies that move overseas. Veteran hiring practices. U.S. Infrastructure Investment Bank. Focus spending on American roads, bridges, and systems. Trade deals must create U.S. jobs. Only approve agreements that benefit American workers. Limit reliance on foreign imports in key industries. Strengthen national security and independence. Small business tax relief and deregulation. Alright, last part. Media, tech, and public disclosure. Break up big tech monopolies. Treat major platforms as communication spaces. Ensure fair access for political speech. That's all speech. Hate speech falls under all speech. Transparency in content moderation rules. Let users know why content is removed or limited. Ban foreign ownership of major U.S. media outlets. Keep America media under American control. Disclose government coordination with tech companies. Show when the government is influencing online platforms. Equal platform access for candidates. Give major candidates equal opportunity to reach voters online. How about give all candidates equal opportunity to reach voters online? Label foreign state-run media clearly. Well, is Barry Weiss considered foreign state-run media? Just asking. Protect whistleblowers. Ban government pressure on speech. Stronger protections against false reporting harming individuals. Label AI generated content. Create public online town hall platform. Allow direct communication between voters and candidates. Yeah, I like it. I think it should be in person. Clearly separate news from opinion content. Help viewers understand what's factual in commentary. Again, let's go back to COVID. Let's go back to Charlie Kirk. Let's go back to Mike Huckabee, what he just said. Let's go back to, shit, what else is there, man? There's anything. UFOs. Where is the line between fact and fiction? Because we were told that all the stuff that we were talking about was fiction and it's fact. So do you guys issue what you call it, a contraction or a retraction, contraction, a retraction on calling us all conspiracy theorists? Is that how that works? Transparency and target political ads. Show voters why they're seeing certain ads. Ban deep fake political ads near elections. Prevent misleading manipulated videos. As much as I like them, I tend to agree with this. Some of them are really fucking good. They can definitely cause some problems. Equal debate coverage across major networks. Ensure fair airtime for candidates. Quarterly transparency report for platforms. Show how political content is handled. Digital Bill of Rights for free speech. Protect Americans' rights online similar to offline. I am with that 100%. Penalties for spreading foreign propaganda knowingly. Well, I think the $7,000 club would have a issue with that one, wouldn't they? Anyway, I have been going for 2 hours and 32 minutes. So, I have been going for quite a while. Again, this was just an idea I had to try to get some positivity into what we could do to try to help ourselves in these election cycles, because I know many of us feel hopeless and many of us feel like we no longer have a political home. And I am one of those people. And until I see a true America First candidate that is here for supporting American jobs, supporting manufacturing, supporting education, no new wars, all the stuff that Trump said that he didn't do. Registering APAC, term limits, getting big corporation money out of politics. Until we have a politician that is willing to do that, I think we're in trouble. So, this list are things that we can present to our elected representatives that we want done. We want term limits. We want insider trading. We want corporate money out of politics. We want PACs out of politics. We want APAC registered as a foreign lobby. We want free speech. These are all common sense things that both parties, Democrats, Republicans, should be able to support. I am trying to find common ground. I'm trying to find common ground with the average American, and they may not believe everything that I believe in, and that is okay. But just because we don't believe the same things does not mean that we are enemies. The real enemies have infiltrated both of our parties, which is why we have no control over who we vote, who gets elected. We have control over who we vote for. We have no control over who gets elected. That needs to change. And some of these policies will help to do that. So I figured I would provide a list of these things, these policies, these reforms that we can make to our congressional leaders, so we can start to get some of the power back when we vote. Because we are all tired of our votes not meaning shit. So hopefully this will maybe catch somebody's attention. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it'll get shared and the right person will see it. But these are all things that the majority of both parties should agree on. Most of these policies that we went over are common sense policies. We just need to do something about it. And I hope we do. Hope we do. Me, I'm just going to keep using my platform because I can't vote in an election. I lost that right. Just like I can't own a firearm. Shit happens. People change. Life moves on. But I will continue to use my platform for the betterment of our country and to get back the sovereignty that we have lost, that has been taken away and eroded, that has been eroded and taken away from us. I will fight every day to get that back. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ricky. This is America First, F the rest. Okay. All of my links are in the description. You can find me on Twitter, X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all under the same handle. Please, please, please. I'm begging. Like, share, comment, do anything. Help me get my content out there. Help me grow. Help me make a difference. Help me try to bridge the gap between right and left and make people see that the right and the left are, we're not enemies. The politicians are two wings of the same bird. And no matter who we vote for, the same shit is going to happen. Unless we change who we vote for. And this video was a list of ways that we can start to do that. Because change in this country will never come from the top to the bottom. It will always come from the bottom to the top. So again, my name is Ricky. This is America First. F the rest. Like, share, subscribe, comment, whatever you guys want to do. I've been going for 2 hours and 40 minutes. I was not planning on going anywhere near this long. Then I have a lot of clipping to do. If anybody's good with that, please reach out to me. I could use some help. I genuinely care about our country, and I genuinely care about the direction that we are headed, because it's not a good one. And having us fight amongst ourselves is what they want. And we have hit a point where we cannot give them what they want. And anybody that has a voice or a platform, use it. I've only been doing this for 2 weeks. I sat on it for a month, thought about doing it. Constantly was in my head about nobody's gonna watch. Everybody's gonna hate it. People are just gonna hate on it. You know what? I don't care. I care that we have a better country for the next generation. Because as it is right now, we are not going to have a better country for the next generation. Next generation is going to be struggling more than I am, and more than we are. And it is not fair and not right and not the American way. And it's time we fix it. So I hope everybody has a fantastic night. It is probably 6:15. I'm definitely going to bed soon. Gotta be out the house at what time? I gotta be out of the house 2:45 this morning to go to work. So, yeah, I'm pretty tired. Gonna go to sleep, eat dinner, go to sleep, take a shower. So, hope everybody has a good night. Thank you everybody for tuning in. And yeah. Hope everybody has a great night.